Good morning, friends. We are going to be working on Everyday Math Lesson 7.9 this morning. Understand a fraction as a number on the number line and represent fractions on a number line diagram. Alright, so here we are locating and representing fractions. We are first going to start out with write the distance the triangle has moved along the number line. Alright, so this is a fraction, of course. We have the numerator on top, the denominator on bottom. Remember, we talked about the top number. The numerator means how many pieces you have shaded or how many pieces you have at that time. The denominator, the bottom number, talks about how many sections you should have either of the shape or of the line. So here we have 0 over 3, 1 over 3, 1/3, and then we have 3 over 3, which is also equal to 1. So write the distance the triangle has moved along the number line. So we are going to start at the dotted line here. We move one piece. We move two pieces. So we have moved 2 pieces out of the 3 altogether. So our fraction would be 2 over 3. Okay. Now let's look at B. Okay, we have the same thing, but this time our line is divided into 6. So before we start moving the triangle, let's look at what we would write as our fraction. So if we have 0 over 6 here, if we move one piece, that means we would have 1 over 6. Then jump another piece, that would give me 2 over 6. We have 3 6. I'm going to jump one more piece, that will give me 4 6. Then we have 6 6. So let's start here and look. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our fraction would be 5, 6. So we have moved 5 jumps out of 6 total. All right, and we have 6 equal distances between the 0 and 1. So that would give us 6 parts. Now we are going to write the missing fraction. So we have 0 over 4. So the 4 means that we have 4 sections, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we have 0 over 4. If I move one section, that means I have 1 over 4. We go to 2/4. Another jump would be 3/4. And then we have 4/4, which is also equal to 1. Okay. Now notice the 2/4. There's another way that we can write this. If we look, we are going to be halfway between the 0/4 and the 4/4. So we could also write that as 1/2. Looking down at B, oh, we have 6 sections, but they didn't start us out with the 0. They started us out with 2. All right, so if we go back here, we don't have any sections. So we have 0. We have 6 pieces total, so we have 0, 6. I move 1, so that gives me 1, 6. 2, 6. 3, 6. This gives me another piece. That gives me 4, 6. 5, 6, and we have all 6 pieces, so that gives me 6, 6, also equal to 1 whole. Now here we have 3, 6. If you look, it's halfway between the 0, 6 and the 6, 6, so that would also give us 1/2 as an equivalent fraction. Alright, now we're going to look at our math method, locating half on a number line. So the whole is the distance from 0 to 1. Label 1/2 where you think it should go on the number line. Okay, so here we have a fraction card that should look very familiar to you. So we have 0/2, 1/2, and 2/2. Okay, or 1. So here is what this would look like on a fraction circle. So if I have 1/2, that means I have equal parts on both sides. And so I would only have 1 side of it shaded. Okay, so we're going to look at this. And so we are going to, we want to make it a half. So we just said half would be equal parts. So I'm going to go about in the middle. And I'm going to make a tick there. Okay. And if I have one piece, that means I have 1 as a numerator, and then I have 2 equal parts. So that means my denominator is going to be 2. That gives us 1/2. Okay. We could also do that over here between the 1 and the 2. For a half, we go about in the middle, make a tick, and that would give us 1/2 also. Okay. Okay, so our 1/2 is going to be halfway between the 0 and the 1. Alright, so we have 0 halves, 1/2. This would be 2 over 2 for 2 halves, which is also equal to 1. Now this one we could say is a half, but if we count our halves, we have 1/2, 2 halves. So we could also say that this is 3 halves. And then if we move down here to 4, we would have 4 halves, which is also equal to 2. Okay. So we are going to continue to partition or divide our line into halves. Okay, so here we have a number line, and if you look, it's divided into 3 equal parts. Okay, but we still want to divide it into halves, but if you look here, the 0 to 1 is shorter here than it is to here. It's still equal to a whole, but because we have more holes on the line, it gives us a smaller piece. Alright, so I want to make half, and remember it's halfway between the 0 and the 1. I'm going to make my tick, and I'm going to label it 1 over 2. I have 2 sections. Now don't let the fact that we have a longer line confuse you, because we're only looking at this one piece, this one hole. Okay, so here we have 1 over 2. I'm looking at this section, going to divide it into half also. So that gives me, again, 1 over 2. Looking at just between the 2 and the 3, I'm going to divide it into half, and it gives me 1 over 2. Okay? Alright, so now we're moving down to number 2. Oh, and look, there's even smaller distance between the 0 and the 1. But still, half would be halfway between the 0 and the 1, no matter how much distance is between the 0 and the 1. So we're going to go halfway between, make the tick, divide it into 1/2, halfway between, make the tick, divide it into 1/2, and we're going to keep going. Okay, so there we have halves. So the distance from 0 to 1/2 gets shorter on each number line because we have more holes on the number line. Here is the distance 0 to 1. Here is the distance 0 to 1, and here is the distance 0 to 1. But the half is still going to be halfway between each number line. Okay, now we're going to continue working on number lines and fractions. Alright, so it says the hole on the numbered line below is the distance between 0 and 1. Partition each number line to locate and then label the given fraction. On some number lines, there is more than one hole. Alright, so we have 1 over 3. 1 is your numerator. It tells you how many seconds you have that you're going to keep. 3 is the denominator, and it tells you how many pieces your line has total. So I'm going to look and see. I want about equal parts. I'm going to make a tick. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I want it to be close. So we can divide it into 3 equal parts. Okay, so do we have 3 equal parts there? It looks like it, yes. Alright, so this is 0 parts. So this would be 1 over 3 total sections. This would be 2 over 3 total sections, and here is 1. And that would also be equal to 3 over 3. So we are just going to put a dot right here on the 1 over 3, so 1/3. Alright, so we have just labeled our part. Now number 2 says 2/6. So remember, the bottom number of the denominator tells you how many pieces that you're going to divide the line into. So we need 6 pieces. So I'm going to mark again the thirds that we had, but that only gives me 3. If I need 6, I'm going to take each section and I'm going to divide it into half again, and that should give us 6 parts. Let's look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Alright, good. So let's label our pieces. So here is 0 out of 6. This first section would be 1/6. The next one would be 2/6. We now have 3/6. Then 4/6, 5/6, and 6/6. So I'm going to count 2 pieces. 1, 2, and I'm going to label it with a dot. Oh, look up here. These are the same amount of pieces, although this is broken into 2. It's the same amount, so 1/3 would be equal or equivalent to 2/6. And we have the same thing down here. 2/3 would be equivalent to 4/6. Now we're going to divide number 3 into 4. So I'm going to go about the half. Okay. But I only have 2 pieces. I need to have 4, so I'm going to divide into half again. Leave my tick. So now we're going to label our pieces. We have 0 over 4, so we should have 4. Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good, we do. This is 1 piece out of 4. 2 pieces out of 4. 3 pieces out of 4. And 4 pieces out of 4. Good job. Okay, so now we need to do 3 pieces, so I'm going to count 1, 2, 3. I'm going to fill in my circle above the 3, 4. So now we have to do 6/8. So we have to do 8 pieces, so I'm going to go ahead and divide it in half first. Then I'm going to divide that half into halves. That only gives me 4, so I'm going to do it one more time. So there's 1, and there's 1, and there's 1. Okay, and let's see if we have 8 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Good job. So let's go through and we're going to label our pieces. We have 0 over 8. I have 1 piece out of 8. I have 2 pieces out of 8. I have 3 pieces out of 8. I have 4 pieces out of 8. I have 5 pieces out of 8. I have 6 pieces out of 8. I have 7 pieces out of 8. And I have 8 pieces out of 8. Alright, so I need to label the 6/8. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here would be the end of my 6th piece. Put my circle on there. Oh, look at this. Looks like 3/4 and 6/8 would be equivalent because they are the same amount of space from the 0 to the dot. And so they would be equivalent. Oh, there's a 2/4 and a 4/8. I think that would be equal to 1/2 because they're halfway in between. 1/4 and 2/8 are equivalent because they're the same amount of space. All right. Now let's look at what your homework is. Okay, and here is your homework. Okay. I want you to take a line and I want you to draw it into 1/2 and label the half. You're going to take a line and you're going to make it into 4 equal parts. I want you to label the 1/4. You're going to take a line and make it into thirds and label the 2/3. And you're going to take a line and make it into sixths and label 5/6. That is the end of lesson 7.9. Thank you very much, friends.